Okay, I'm here with Miss Bailey. Yes, and that's Belle in the background. In this video, we're going to go over something called the Engage Disengage game. Now, we're going to do this with Bailey on the leash and not Belle because we only really need to work with Bailey about this. Bailey doesn't always like every person or dog that walks by. Some she doesn't care about, some she does. So what happens is when she sees the person and she barks at the person, her mom tries to get her to stop doing that because she wants to be nice and polite and doesn't want her dog to act that way. We feel social pressure when our dogs are doing what we perceive to be not appropriate to punish the dog or take action so the other person thinks, oh, they're not being irresponsible. If she's reactive, I would just be feeding her treats. You can't reinforce emotion. So if the dog's barking, just feed her treats or give her a pet or whatever it is. It's kind of like if I'm hysterical and somebody's rubbing my shoulders, that doesn't make me freak out more. It actually helps me feel relaxed. Now over my right shoulder, I have Nolan over there. You can see in the background. I'm gonna have Nolan walking in the little gap between the house. I guess you can't see Nolan, but he's gonna be walking back and forth. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be playing the Engage Disengage game. This means that when she looks at Nolan, she's going to get a treat. I'm gonna say her marker word, which is yes, then I'm gonna deliver a treat. I'm gonna try to position her where she's here facing that way, and I'm here. So when she looks at Nolan as he walks by, and I say the marker word, the instant that he comes into here, that she looks at him. So I'm saying, that's Nolan. I'm saying yes to let her know that's what I wanted, and I'm gonna give her a treat. But if she's facing here, she's gonna have to turn away from Nolan to look at me to get the treat. That's why we call it the engaged game. First, now I'm engaging, now I'm disengaging. And if she wants to lay down, that's great as well. All right, I'm gonna have Lydia step back about 2 steps. Do you see her and me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Nolan. Yes. Up. Stop. Up. You were sniffing. All right, good. Keep going, Nolan.
Keep going or walk back.
Yes. Just walk back and forth. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'll give you a couple too. Yes.
Belle.
You're doing great. Yes. That was great. So watch her. Yes. So she's practicing looking at him and then turning away from him. Yes. Yes. See how the yes is causing her to turn away? Now I'm not asking, I don't want the yes to cause her to turn away. Yes. Well, actually I kind of am. But I'm saying I'm marking her looking at Nolan. Now she didn't look at him, so I'm not marking. She doesn't get a reward. Nolan, when you do this time, next time, clap your hands above your head as you walk. Yes. Now she started to close her mouth. If a dog is normally relaxed and goes to a closed mouth, that means things are about to get serious. Yes. Now I don't have to have her sit. She can do whatever she wants.
Keep going?
No, keep going, please. Yes. Yes. Miss Belle, you're kind of in the way. Now, if she wants to move away, I'm going to let her. Let's stop the clapping. The clapping you saw was a little bit much first. So I'm going to drop the leash because she's showing a little anxiety. Don't let her inside, please.
Yep.
And so we don't want our dogs to be anxious. Now, I use the sit as an indicator. So if I ask a Bailey to sit and she won't sit, I would take about 3 to 5 steps away and try again. Yes, that's a good sit. And I want to find a distance where she'll sit, because a sit is an indication she feels pretty comfortable. If she gets up and tries to move away, she's saying I'm uncomfortable. If I force her to do this, then I'm flooding her, and I'm really creating a negative association. The Engage Disengage game. Go ahead, Nolan, walk again. We'll do it with Miss Belle.
Right?
Yes.
Clap or no?
No, just walk.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So the first part of this game is called the engage part. So, yes. I'm trying to hold the treat, so she's got to kind of turn away from Nolan. All right, Nolan, you can hold up. So the first part is you're marking when the dog looks at the person, then holding a treat to the side so the dog has to turn away from the person. So they are essentially disengaging. But they're doing that secondarily. We're first saying the marker word for looking, then they're turning away. After they've practiced this enough, you're going to wait, and let's see if we can get one right here. All right, Nolan, let's walk again. Yes, that was actually perfect. So what did she do? She looked at the person, she disengaged on her own. Now this is incredibly fast. Normally, I think it's almost coincidental. Normally you have to practice the engage part quite a bit. But after a while, when somebody walks by, I'm gonna look at my human, because when people walk by, that means I'm getting a treat, instead of looking at it as a negative. Now, eventually, what we want the dog, so the first stage is you want the dog just to look at the person and say yes without, and then you say yes for them looking, but without the dog barking. If the dog barks, move 5 steps further away and repeat it. You want to get as close to the fence as you can, or whatever the destination is, without the dog barking when the stimulus happens. Once you've achieved that, then you practice that at this level. Then eventually I would go a couple steps closer, and then a couple steps closer. Eventually you get to the point where you're right up against the fence. But you have to go very progressively and slow. And if the dog barks, that means you got greedy. You went to ask for too much criteria. Now, just like us, it's going to matter who the criteria of the people are. So you might have somebody walking by that's very slow and casual, and the dog's fine with that. We live next, there's a school right here, hey, and the kids run by and they're all crazy, or there's somebody with the dog. I might need to move 10 paces further away or 5 paces closer. So every situation might be a little bit unique. But the idea is we want to create association when the dog sees a person out there, instead of being something to bark at, because when I bark at them right now, they appear to go away. The dog doesn't realize, that's okay. The dog doesn't realize that the person's walking by anyways. If they don't bark or anything, the person's still gonna walk away, but the dog barks and the person appears to leave, so the dog thinks my bark made him leave. Also, as a Bailey dog, if I bark at that person, my mom's gonna come out and say shush. And these guys are gonna make it a little bit hard to hear. So let me move a little bit closer. So what we're gonna do, live video. So what we want to do is we want to create a situation where gradually we get closer and closer, but the dog now says that looking at that person is a positive thing. Now there's a couple of little tricks that we can do. One of the things you might want to do is take note of the characteristics of people that come by that your dog barks at. So you notice every time somebody with a beard comes by, Belle's barking or Bailey's barking like crazy. Well, then I might enlist the help of a friend who has a beard. And I would have my friend walk by and maybe have them have treats, and they're throwing them over the fence as they're walking by. Now, since you have a grassy yard, what I like to do is get a piece of string cheese and slice it down the tube so they're like little needles. That's okay. Or little nickels. And that way when we throw them, white little ovals on the grass will stand out. So now the dog's like, when people come, it rains treats. Now, if the dog barks, then that would be something I probably wouldn't want to do. We probably wouldn't want to do that with the dog barking at them. Then we'd probably just play the engage disengage game. But the whole point of this is we want to create a positive association. The guardian off camera, we talked a little bit, and she gives the dogs attention, and she's trying to be a good hostess, but she gives the dogs attention when they're doing unwanted behaviors. That makes the dog more likely to continue doing those behaviors. Same principle here, but this is a desirable behavior. So now looking at another person gets me a treat. Now looking away from the other person gets me a treat. So I feel comfortable, and we go at the dog's pace. So gradually we get closer and closer and closer. And eventually I'm at the fence. And when school's back in session, you might say, okay, school gets out at 2:15. So I'm gonna set my dog up for success. So I know that at 2:15, I'm gonna have a plethora of kids coming by. So I'm gonna start walking my dog at 1:30. Get a 15-20 minute walk in. Then my dog's gonna be able to relax, recover. Then I'm gonna come out here with Bailey only. And we're gonna have somebody take Miss Belle out for a walk or do some training inside so we can work with Bailey exclusively. And Bailey gets to practice. Every time these kids come by, I'm just getting a copious amount of treats. Or every time I look at the kids, I get a treat. And then we gradually get them closer and closer. So now somebody passing by outside my yard, instead of being something I don't like, it's actually an indication that I'm about to get a treat. This is my friend Belle. This is Nolan. And Bailey's over there. And these got some motorcycle guys are gonna make some noise. So I'm gonna sign off. This is an example of something called the engage disengage game.